Welcome back to another episode of How Did They Grow? I created this podcast because I wanted you to learn how other coaches, freelancers, service providers, and course sellers are growing their business, landing 10 to 20 new clients every single month, paying them 50, 100, 200K months. See, if they've done it, you can too. And that's just the reality. And I want you to listen to these podcasts to understand what strategies are they using, what techniques are they exploring, because it's in these gems that you can apply it to your business and actually scale things up. When you're ready and you feel like you actually want to learn practical, proven methodologies, or even you want to hire a team that can build you a profitable personal brand, book in a chat with our team because we can guarantee you go viral and guarantee you get clients for your business.
Welcome to the podcast, guys. And on today we have Doc Rivers, the original Doc Rivers. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Doc.
How you guys doing? It's great to be here. Looking forward to a great conversation and learning some things and sharing some things and all of that good stuff.
Yeah. So tell us how your background, how did you grow up? How did you get here? Did you always know you were going to be a coach and an entrepreneur? Or was it something that came?
Oh, it was definitely something that came. I had no idea that I was going to be a coach or entrepreneur or anything like that. Growing up, as a young kid, I grew up in inner city Detroit, Michigan, which can be kind of rough, and I happened to be in one of those situations that was kind of rough. As soon as I was old enough to get out of the situation that I was in, I joined the United States military, traveled the world, learned a lot about life and different cultures and, just meeting tons of different people from different walks of life that share different ideas and experiences from me, and it just kind of opened me up. It matured me quite a bit. And right after that, I got out of the military at age 22 and decided I wanted to go into law enforcement, which was something I thought I would never do because growing up in Detroit, you kind of don't like police, So, but I had a great career there. I was with the Detroit Police Department for about 6 years. You see the awards behind me and all of that. Had quite a good career there. Had lifelong friends, everything, and transferred out to Arizona where I ended my career there in 2014. There I had the opportunity to be a special agent with the Attorney General's office. I supervised and managed about 100 people. And right before I retired, I joined the local police department and became a supervisor there. I was a public information officer. I mean, I was the guy that would sit in front of the news cameras and be on television telling everybody what happened. And one of my favorite things was that I was a hostage and crisis negotiator, which brought me into or was the segue into what I do now, because being in that position, I studied a lot about human behavior, communication, how the brain works and all of those kind of things. And it really, really piqued my interest. And as soon as I retired, I had no idea what I was going to do. I was like, okay, all of my life, I worked for the government, all the way from 18 until like 40, I worked for the government. So I didn't know where it was that I was going to go and what it is that I was going to do. And I found that I had an ability to speak publicly. And I started my company, and I started it trying to do leadership teaching. And that wasn't working because no one wanted to hire me. They're like, oh, you're just a cop. What are you going to teach me about business? But then I realized that, hey, I was a negotiator, and I negotiated people that were about to make really, really bad decisions. I spoke to them so that they can make better decisions, which is coaching. And just really getting people to make those better decisions for their life and for their future. I started coaching individuals, and that picked the company up quite a bit. And within my first year, I was en route to make only $23,000 that year. And I'm like, oh my God, this is not going to work for me. I'm going to be broke. And I joined, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with the leadership expert by the name of John C. Maxwell, but it was called the John Maxwell team. I joined the John Maxwell team, and I got certified as a public speaker. I got certified as a coach. I got certified as a trainer, and I took those principles and within like 18 months, my $23,000 a year went to six figures, and it's been, you know, a great ride ever since.
Right. So I'm curious in terms of like you being someone who speaks. I know you said obviously you found that skill during your negotiation time in the with the cops when you were doing negotiation. But growing up as a kid, is that something you felt that you had? Were you always entrepreneurial? And also, I'm also curious, why did you retire so early? Was there something? Were you tired of the job? Did you want to chase your dream? What was that?
Great two questions. Well, I found that as a kid, I didn't think or feel that I had any public speaking ability as a child. One thing that I did know as a child was that I had a unique ability to connect with people. And you know, I was easy to get along with. I got along with most individuals, you know. But growing up in poverty, Mike, uh you know, you deal with a lot of not so nice kids who do not share the poverty lifestyle that you have. So, you know, I had a lot of, I had to fight a lot as a kid,
Yeah.
you know, and you know, they'll, you know, they used to call me Welfare Daryl, and all of this stuff. And I'd be quiet in school, and after school, that was a different story. I'm like, oh, okay, well, you're calling me Welfare Daryl in school, but we're outside now. Say it to my face. And I was that kid, you know. But from the moment, and I always had, I did recognize that I was a leader though, because a lot of people would follow my ideals as I became a teenager. And from the moment I joined the military, I was always placed in leadership positions. You know, I didn't have rank as soon as I joined in. I was in boot camp. I was in charge of things when I was, you know, wherever I went, I was given a position to influence and lead other people. So I recognized the leadership thing was there. Even as a police officer in the beginning stages, I realized that the leadership aspect was there. The reason to answer your question, why I retired so early, this is very interesting. I was working midnights, and there were two individuals who were in the Metro Phoenix, Arizona area, and they were committing armed robberies. They were pulling out their firearms. They were threatening individuals. They were taking their money. And we're hearing it over the radio, and they're going from city to city to city. And they were coming to our city based on their, you know, where they're hitting at. So I instructed all of my officers, hey, they're going to come across. When they come across at our borders, we're going to chase them. And sure enough, they came across, we chased them. We ended up catching them. Yeah, you know, they took off running. My guys catch one guy. I catch the second guy. He decided he wanted to fight me. And that didn't work out all that well for him to try to fight me. And as I'm handcuffing him, other officers are coming to help me. And they try to jump on the kid, the young man. And one of the officers' knees landed on the back of my wrist and snapped my wrist and snapped 5 ligaments in my hand. And I couldn't use my hand for 1 whole year. So I took an early retirement. Now, law enforcement retirement is 20 years. You do 20 years, you can retire. You know, and I started policing at the age of 23. So, you know, I was just a couple of years away from my actual retirement. So I just took an early retirement and retired medically. And then that's why I say I didn't know what I wanted to do. I'm like, okay, I wasn't quite preparing for retirement. I was kind of pushed into it. So I really had to find out what to do really, really fast.
So just to break down what you said, you were chasing 2 guys. Then the cop. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we were chasing 2 guys. The first guy got caught for relatively fast. The other guy jumped a few fences. I drive down the road. I end up catching him. It was just he and I. All the other officers were with the other suspect. And, you know, I catch the guy. He decides he wants to fight me. And that didn't work out for him, you know. And as I'm handcuffing him, other officers were kind of trying to come and assist me. You know, and this is what we will call in the law enforcement world called a polyester pileup. Or the polyester pileup is a bunch of people in their polyester uniforms jumping on one person. And I got caught in the bottom of it. One of the guys, his knee hit the back of my wrist. and it snapped ligaments in my hand, and I wasn't able to use my right arm for like, and I'm right-handed. I wasn't able to use my right arm for like a year, so I had to retire.
Wow. No, that's amazing. So that's why you retired, and that's how you, and that was you answered the other question, which was, did you grow up thinking how did you deal with challenges in your, first of all, you said, okay, you grew up in Detroit, and obviously you said people are not a fan of the police in Detroit. So
Correct.
did you start doing police in Detroit?
Yeah, that's why I started my career. As soon as I got out the
Okay,
military, I put in my application for Detroit Police Department, and with about
amazing.
a year out of my enlistment, about a year back home, I became a Detroit police officer.
Amazing, amazing. So tell us how you dealt with adversity in terms of the people, and how does that people, not liking the police, and how does that translate into business? That ability to be soft and hard backed. Sorry, hard backed. Yeah.
Great question. So, dealing with adversity, I mean, I've been dealing with adversity ever since I was 6 years old, just growing up in poverty. So adversity is not new to me. It was kind of, this is life. I mean, my life was,
Yeah.
dealt with a lot of conflict in life, right? So, growing up as a poor kid, basically, that's what it was. I was in poverty and, relatively poor. That's a challenge in itself, just living life and
Yeah.
not if I'm going to eat that day, or
Yeah.
you're waking up to no electricity or no running water, and things like
Mm.
that. So the adversity aspect of it wasn't that big of a deal for me at all. I handled it very easily. And then, going from growing up like that, and then all of a sudden I'm in the military, and, I was in the military in the early 90s. So I was in the combat zone, and, you don't sleep much and all of that. So the adversity on the police department wasn't that taxing for me at all. People not liking me simply because of the uniform that I wore, it didn't bother me, because most of the time I would tell myself, the people who don't like me, I wouldn't talk to them if I wasn't doing this job. So, you cannot like me for doing this job. And the thing is that I would never come in contact with you if I wasn't doing this job. So I never took it personal. I realized this is my profession. This is what I do. So, I rarely ever took anything personal. My biggest thing when it came to being a police officer were other police officers. And if you ask any good police officer, they will tell you, we are wired to deal with the community, to deal with the media, to deal with the criminal element that we have to police, but we're just not wired to deal with other police officers who don't do the job right, who don't lead well, or who are not fair. That's the most difficult part of being a police officer, is dealing with other police officers.
That's amazing. And that's some amazing insight. I've never really heard that before. So how did that translate? How did all that translate into your ability to grow in the leadership and coaching industry?
Awesome. Yeah. So how it translates is, I think the main thing that leaders need to recognize is that it's not about you, right? I'll ask you this, Mike. Have you ever saw an apple tree that eats apples?
No, never.
Right. So therefore, everything that apple tree produces is not for the tree. It produces for everyone around it. And this is how I looked at leadership. I don't lead for me. I lead for the people who I've been charged to lead. And as a leader, you realize that, the fruit is never for the benefit of the tree. The fruit is for the benefit of every single person around that particular tree. And as a leader, kind of like, if I take everything personal, then that's saying that I need something from people, instead of being a leader who I'm pouring out to other individuals. It's like, it's that same concept. Apple trees don't eat apples, and leaders should not take things personal, because the moment you take leadership and the things that go on in your life as personal when you're dealing with other people, what you're saying is that You know, hey, I want to feed on you. I need something from you to make me feel better. Or I'm not here to add value to you. I'm here to receive from you. And not too many people want to follow someone that they constantly have to give to. You know, no one goes to the doctor to make the doctor feel better. You know?
Yeah.
And it's the same way with leadership.
I love that. I love that apple tree analogy. I love it. You must have it in one of your books, don't you?
I'm not sure if I have it in one of my books or not. Maybe I do. I don't know. I know I keep that terminology and I say it when I'm teaching leadership to individuals who are already leaders or aspiring leaders. I say that all of the time. If you're leading for yourself, then you're not going to be a good leader.
Amazing, and I definitely agree with that.
I hope you're enjoying this podcast. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're learning so much practical wisdom, because that's what I really wanted from this podcast. Now, I just want to quickly say, if you're looking for a team that can actually help you explode and go viral with your personal brand with proven methodologies, I say this because I've been doing this for the past 5 years. We've got a team of 30 people who are ready to go ahead and explode your brand so you can get clients begging to work with you. Have a chat with one of our advisors. You can book in a chat using one of the links around this video, because that chat might just change your life.
This is kind of a nice, way to segue into social media. Becoming a coach, did you embrace social media early on in your journey? And also, what role has social media been able to play in terms of building your personal brand and putting your face out there in front of the people?
Well, I'll tell you this. I remember when Facebook first came out. See, I don't know how old you are, Mike, but I remember before the internet existed, there were no cell phones. If I wanted to go talk to someone, I had to get up, walk to their house and say, hey, can Mike come outside to play? It was no text messages or anything like that, right? So I remember back I don't even remember when Facebook came out specifically, but I remember I was working at the Attorney General's office. I was already a police officer, thing like that. I was a special agent. I was in charge of my whole unit. And one of the attorneys at the Attorney General's office approached me and says, hey, are you on Facebook? And I'm like, no, well, I've lived my whole life without Facebook. I think I'm going to continue to live without it. I'm fine. And it took me about a half to 2 years to even join Facebook just as a user, right? I joined Instagram extremely late. I just recently, maybe over the course of 2 or 3 years, 3 or 4 years, maybe, got onto TikTok. But
TikTok,
the thing that I've truly embraced though, Mike, was LinkedIn. When it came to my business, I truly embraced LinkedIn. That was the platform that I have gotten business from. It's the platform that I connect with, some clients with. And I believe that, and I direct people to my LinkedIn when people say, hey, we're thinking about bringing you on as an instructor or as a coach to do a coaching session. I'm like, hey, you can either check out my website or go to my LinkedIn profile, and it should give you everything you need to know. And every now and then, I don't really promote my business too much on social media platforms. I just promote me. Because I realize that, I am my best commercial. Your character is your best commercial, and I can easily do some ads and all kinds of stuff like that. But I just go on social media and talk about my thoughts. And, I have certain things that I live by. Like one of my favorite things that I live by is, my ideology or my statement or this quote: never, ever argue with a blind man about what you can see. Right. So I utilize that concept. Right. So, if I can, go 1 week of just talking about that particular quote, and I'll do maybe a 2 or 3 minute ideology, a little teaching, or, tell a story on how it relates to that particular quote. And then the week after that, maybe I'll use one of my other tenets that I live by, which is never wrestle with a pig. You'll both get dirty, but the pig will enjoy it. So, that's basically letting don't argue with people. You're going to be frustrated about the argument, but the other person is going to be happy because they like to argue. And you're walking away frustrated. They're walking away happy. Don't engage. And I'll teach you on that for like a week, and just small 2 or 3 minute things. And I promote myself as the owner of the Betterment Group, but I never say, hey, buy this course, do this, do that. It's more so I promote myself, and,
Your personal brand.
yeah, it's just me as a personal brand. And then I'll get people to reach out. Hey, are you available for this? Or I saw your 2 or 3 minute story. I saw a segment of you doing a keynote speech, and wow, would you mind, having a conversation about potentially us bringing you on, and, us becoming a client. And that's how it generally works for me.
Is that on Instagram? This one you're talking about, or both LinkedIn and Instagram?
LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I do story time, and just really just, sometimes I'll be honest, I just live my life. I mean, I'm happily married man. So me and
That's
my
amazing.
wife, we post where we're traveling, and, our little
That's
relationship stuff. And, but for the most part, my social media is filled with, my ideologies, a couple of things about business, and just me living and being a family man.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. That's the trend that social media is going in. Just me giving you a little nugget, and the audience as well. That's the trend social media is going in. Authenticity is the word. Authenticity is the key. Everyone's tired of being sold to. Buy my course, but everyone's a guru now. You know what I mean? So
oh my God.
Everyone's tired of that. People want to connect with people on a human basis. It's 2025. Everyone's on their phones. So if I'm on my phone, at least don't be, a friggin' like a bot telling me, hey, buy this course, buy this course. No, I want to connect with people. I want to learn from people as well. So when you say, you've got these ideologies, that makes a lot of sense. And that is the kind of content that, the people love to see. Whether the algorithm pushes it or not, maybe that has to do with, strategy and the way you edit and all that. But that kind of content is ideal, in terms of social media. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's crazy that you talk about the algorithms. I mean, I've posted certain things that had 300,000 views, and then I'll post it on a different platform, and it gets the same content. It gets 300 views on a different platform, So I'm like, go figure, right? I'll post something on TikTok.
Man.
Yeah, I post something on TikTok, a story on TikTok, and it gets 40,000 views and thousands of likes. And I'll take that same story and put it on Facebook Reels, and I'll get like 1,000 views, and whatever. So it's the algorithms, but I don't really. I don't post for that in particular. I'm more so just living my life, and I allow things to come. I figure if I live my life in a certain manner, I'm authentic. I am constantly and consistently being who it is that I desire to be. Things will come to me that's meant for me, and if it's not meant for me, then I don't want it anyway.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think you're a man with a message, and I think a lot of people, especially, do you tone your message towards like younger people and people who you were when you were younger? Is that some kind of thing that you do?
Well, I don't really say that's a good question, because I don't really think that I go for age. I go for mindset. I'm not in pursuit. I mean, like, this is what I know for a fact. A 60-year-old fool can cause just as much problems as a 20-year-old fool. So,
I see how you can get that from working it with the police and all that.
Yeah, ignorance has no time. But it's this, you have, but then what, Mike, I've met like 18 and 19-year-old kids that speak like 40-year-olds. And I've met 40-year-olds who act like 16-year-olds. So it's not so much the age thing. It's more of my target audience are individuals who desire to be better. And my thought process is that better is always available. The biggest room in anyone's house is the room for improvement. You don't have to be sick to get better. So sometimes people say, oh, I get better doesn't mean I'm bad. No, it doesn't mean you're bad. I mean, like, you don't have to be sick in order to get better. better is always available. If it's anything we can get, we can get better. That's why I call my company the Betterment Group. We're about making things better.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I want to ask you a quick question before we hop back in, just based on what you said about being age and all that. How old would you think I am, Doc Rivers?
Oh boy, man, why you do me like that, Mike? Man, now you're gonna.
I just want to put you on the spot and see.
Okay, so based on it's a couple of factors here, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Based on your profession, what you're doing and what you're doing with your platform, I would say you're in your 20s, because this technology thing is more of a young man's game. But based on the way that you speak, I would say either late 20s, early 30s. Based on your appearance, I would say mid 20s.
I do have a baby face.
Yeah, I would say mid 20s.
Don't worry. I'll let you know when the podcast is over. Let's get right back into it.
You're gonna leave me hanging, Mike.
No, when the podcast is over, I'll let you know.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. In terms of, like, you said something at the end there that I wanted to get back to, because you remember you said something before I asked this question. You said something about what was it? Kind of lost my train of thought there. Maybe I shouldn't have asked that question. Anyways, we'll always get back to it. Let me ask you this. In terms of your business, where do you think you get most of your clients from? Do you do a lot of marketing? I think you said you didn't. Is it like a lot of inbound, outbound? I imagine you get a lot of referrals. And also, basically that.
That's it. Most of my business, I would say a good 75% of our business comes through referrals, word of mouth. And that's the thing, when you work with governments a lot, I can work with this government entity, and then, they know these people, and this person knows this person, and before you know it, or just in person. So if I put on a seminar, imagine me putting on a seminar here in Dallas, Texas, right? And I'm doing leadership for law enforcement. Just throwing it out there, right? I'm doing a leadership for law enforcement, and there's 15 Dallas police officers. There's 10 Austin police officers. There's 15 Houston police officers. And there's police officers from all over, right? And they come to this conference and I give my instruction. But I did it in Dallas. Well, the people from Houston are going to go back to Houston and say, hey, this guy Rivers, man, we might want to bring him in. The people in Austin, hey, we might want to bring this guy in. The people from all over saying, hey, this guy's pretty decent. Let's bring this guy in. And then I go down to Austin and I do a seminar just like that. But when I'm in Austin, people from San Antonio come, and people from New Orleans come, and people from here come, and then everyone is just basically, it's like a domino effect. I would say the majority of my clients come through referrals or from my live seminars, to where it's people from other areas that flew in. Mike, I remember one time I was teaching a class in New York, and a person from Belgium, Special Forces, flew from Belgium to New York to take my hostage negotiations course, because the Special Forces in Belgium wanted to build a hostage negotiations team, and they wanted to use my instruction as the foundation for the Belgium Special Forces hostage negotiations. So that was like a big feather in my cap. And I was like, wow, I have no idea how you heard of me all the way in Belgium. But that was pretty cool.
I think that's amazing. Now I've got a little bit of insight in terms of what you do. Is it like mostly working with police people and all that? Or do you have like one-on-one coaching services and all that?
I have one-on-one. That's the thing. We do a lot of different things, right? So I do one-on-one coaching, group coaching. I do in classroom instruction. A lot of my coaching, though, Mike, it comes from public speaking. And this is what, if it's anything that I can give to coaches, if you hear me, if you're here, if you're tuning in, no matter when you're watching this, whether you're watching a replay at 1 a.m. or 1 p.m, one of the quintessential things to grow your coaching business is to grow your speaking ability. I can get in front of a group of individuals and I can speak to them as a public speaker, but some of the tones and some of the ideas and the way that it's structured, it's actually a coaching session, but I'm coaching you from the stage. And then I mentioned, hey, if anyone's interested in one-on-one coaching or group coaching, then you can always go to our website, www.thebettermentgroup.com. Send us a message, and I'll be happy to have my operations director set up a call and a meeting to where we can find out if we're a good fit. So put it like this, Mike. Let's just say I start off a speech like this. I'm on stage, I'm doing a speech, right? And the very first thing that I say is something to get the person thinking about something that they probably don't have the answer to immediately. So let's just say I walk up on stage, I grab my microphone, and before I introduce myself or anything like that, I simply say, if I were to ask every single person in this audience one simple question, and that question is, if I had a gigantic box filled with every single thing you've ever lost in your life, I have this box and I hand it to you and you get to open it up, what would be the first thing that you would look for? And the crowd is thinking, man, if there was a box full of everything I've ever lost in my life, what would be the first thing I would look for? And they don't have the answer to that immediately. They got to think about that, right? And then I'll go into the lesson. You know, are we trying to hold on to things that we've lost? How does the things that we lost impact us? If you had some of the things that you lost, would you still be the same person that you are today? These are all questions that will always go unanswered because I don't have that box full of those things and you don't have access to it. So how do we get past that? Let's talk about it. And then I go into my speech. I'm literally coaching from the stage. And now after that, I've given a keynote speech, but I've also given a coaching lesson to the audience. And now they're looking back like, man, you would probably be a good coach. And I'm like, I'm glad you said that because I am actually a coach and I would love to do one-on-one coaching with you if that's something that you want to do. And if we're a good fit, we can move forward. And I get coaching clients from giving speeches.
That's amazing. And I want to say, by the way, that's a really like captivating way to start a speech. If I was listening to that speech, I'll be glued just to say that.
Right. Oh, well, that's my main thing is the public speaking aspect of it. So I love it. I love the coaching. I love the public speaking. I love just about every aspect of the business.
That's amazing. Let me ask you this, just to round it up. And what is your goal for 2025 in terms of your business? Are you looking to, I don't know if you can handle more leads. Do you think one of your goals is handling more leads, getting more speaking gigs, growing your audience? What does it look like?
Well, I have, you see in my office, I'm in my office right now, right? I have my calendar right here and I write down every month. I write down every client. I write down every city that I'm going to, and I write down the finances of what that contract entails. And if it's anything, when I say to my goals, because I write them down, if it's anything that I would like to change on my calendar, is I want to travel less. I know that sounds crazy. I mean, any person like, what? You want to travel less? And let me tell you the reason why I want to travel less. I enjoy a beautiful relationship with my wife, right? And every now and then she's not able to travel with me, so me wanting to spend that time with her is more on the lines of, instead of doing 3 classes, 3 traveling things per month for $7,500 each, it would be really great to do one for $20,000. That would be ideal, right? Do I have clients, or have I had clients that provide that luxury? Yes, but I'm not working with them every single month. That's a once a year deal. Hey, well, I have this client once a year and I go and I do this positional job with them. I instruct, and it's a pretty good contract, but I don't have those type of contracts every single month. Some of the months is, I have to, in order to get a certain degree of revenue, I have to travel more. So if it was a goal for me for 2025, I would say I would have more high-end clients that have that ability that gives me the opportunity to travel less and still make the same revenue and more. I don't want to see the dip in traveling less. I would like to stay where we are and then trend upward from there.
That makes a lot of sense, and those are really smart goals. And I like the fact that you're prioritizing the relationship with the wife, and that's amazing. What would you say are like the steps you're taking? Are you gonna work more on your network? Are you gonna, I don't know, push your personal brand out there? What is the, or do you have steps in place? What is the strategy to reach?
Well, I've already began some of these steps, right? So the thing is this: I used to brag, Mike, and this I feel kind of silly about bragging about this, right? I used to brag. Yeah. I haven't had to make a sales call in 6 years.
That's amazing.
I called no one; they called me, right? Well, the thing about that, Mike, is it's the same people calling me, right? So it's the same people calling me. Hey,
need you again.
We usually bring you in twice a year. Let's get you on the calendar. And, so it's a steady thing. It's, I'm getting the calls, but I realize that if I want a better client, or let's rephrase that. I don't want to use the word better client because all of my clients are great. If I want a client with a different revenue structure, I need to contact them because they are not looking for Daryl Doc Rivers. They're not looking for me. The individuals that I work with have looked for me, have found me, and continue to do business with me. But the individuals who have a different revenue structure, they are looking for people like me that are not named me. And I have to realize that I have to introduce myself to them, saying, "Hey,
put yourself out there." That makes a lot of sense.
I have to put myself out there. So I've already began that process, and the crazy thing, I sealed 2 contracts today before this. Before we hopped on our line here, I sealed 2 really good contracts. So I'm like right on. And
you hopped on sales calls again?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I started making sales calls this year. So
amazing.
Yeah. And that's how I started my company. I would wake up every morning at 5 a.m. I would have a list of 20 potential clients or target clients that I would call. And I would do that, 4 days out the week. I'm sorry, 3 days out the week: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't make calls on Monday because people are inundated when they're coming back into the offices and everything. And, they're catching up on emails and they're doing all of that kind of stuff. So I never make calls on Monday. And I didn't make calls on Friday because that's the last day of the week. And people just want to rush through the calls. They just want to get the day over with. And I found that. So I would make the calls Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Mondays, I would, plan my week. I would create content. I'd form my strategy. Fridays will be my follow-up days. And that's
an amazing strategy.
Yeah.
That's an amazing strategy. I'm thinking, does that still translate to today? Is that what you're doing still today? Or you got a better strategy?
I have a better strategy. So what I do now is I make an initial call, and that call, in that thing, this is my script, so to say. Hi, my name is Daryl Rivers. I'm a retired law enforcement professional, former hostage negotiator, current business owner. I'm just wondering if you have 45 seconds. If you give me 45 seconds of your time, I can tell you what, I have to offer. If it goes past 45 seconds, then that, my friend, is on you. Could I get 45 seconds of your time? They say, yes, sure. All right, well, this is who I am. This is what my company does. This is what we can offer. I have an email already prepared for you. Can you please tell me the email address I need to send it to, and we can schedule a call for next week? And I'm done. That's my 45 seconds. They will then ask a question. And I was like, okay, I did my 45 seconds. The rest is on you. And that's how I do it. And they'll say, oh, well, what do you teach and what do you train? It's all included in the email, but I'll be more than happy to have a verbal conversation with you right now. And tell them what I have to offer and everything like that. And they're like, oh, well, we're in need for that. When would you like to do this? Well, I would like to do it tomorrow, and I'm sure if you had tomorrow available, you would like to do it tomorrow as well. But that's not feasible. So what does your calendar look like? And I can check mine out, and I'm sure we can find something that's mutually beneficial for the both of us. So Mike, I was really heavy into the hostage negotiations, and my phone calls are basically a hostage. You're holding your business
Yeah. I can
hostage,
feel
and I
that.
want
Yeah.
to release it. You know.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
amazing. As a student in sales myself, I always say that's an amazing cold call script.
Yeah, that's just pretty much how it goes. And sometimes you get people who just don't want to be bothered. And the thing is
Yeah.
this, and being that you're in sales, I don't search for yeses. I look for nos.
You got that. You got that. You got that.
I search for no's, I used to sit back and say, I wonder how many no's can I get today?
I can get today.
So I'm like, I'm just looking for a bunch of people to tell me no, because when you're looking for the no, you're not scared of it. I'm looking for it. So hey, I'll put a price out there. Let me see if I can get a no. I'll put it so high that I know they're going to say no. And in certain times I'll put it whereas I'm thinking like, hey, are they going to say no? When they say yes, I'm like, oh, I love looking for no's.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So yeah, if I was to say, let's just say, so my wife is my operations director. And let's just say this has not happened, but this is like an analogy of my thought process, right? She can call and say, hey, this ABC company wants 3 of your courses. I'm like, oh, awesome. What did they not want? She says, what do you mean? What did they not want? What did they say no to? But they didn't say no to anything. So if they didn't say no to anything, you stopped the sale. They didn't. Right? They stop the sale when they say no. You stop the sale when you just accept the yes. So I push until I get a no. Because at that point, I know you wanted 3 classes, but you know what? One will be a great compliment to those classes would be this right here. And we can schedule that as well. And well, that sounds great. Guess what? I'm continuing to sell. And you know what? If you have individuals who are not able to attend the courses and everything like that, I can actually put it in video on a video platform, and we can actually produce that for you in a studio. That way you can have it on your drive and everything, and you can always revisit it, and we can do that. Oh, that sounds great. Oh yeah, and if you're interested, I can actually coach some of your executives. Oh no, we don't. Okay, they just ended the sale because I finally found the no. What happens is we're looking for the yes, and if I'm looking for the remote control and I find the remote control, I stop looking.
I stopped looking. Yeah.
I stop looking. If I'm looking for a yes and I find a yes, I stop looking. But when I'm looking for a no, I don't stop asking until I find the no. And in looking for that no, I'm going to attract so many more yeses.
Makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna put that down. Yeah, definitely. This has been an amazing one. Dr. Rivers. Let me end on this.
Mm-hmm.
What is one question that you wish I asked you on the spot today?
Oh, wow. One question that I wish you've asked on, what is the most fulfilling thing that I do?
Let me guess.
I'm gonna let you guess.
Spending time with your wife.
You are a rock star, bro. That is it.
Come on, man.
Brother, you got it. The most fulfilling thing that I do is not just spending time, but just I fully 100% provide my wife. Yeah, I'm always, we're together all day, every day, and she doesn't have to work. I completely 100% provide, protect, and doing what I do, it fuels me to continue to do what I do, and it makes me want to be better at what I do, because that is the foundation for what it is that I do at this stage in my life.
That's amazing. It's been an amazing one, Dr. Rivers. Where can the people go to find out and learn more about your work?
To learn more about my work, they can go to my website, which is www.bettermentgroup.com, BETTERMENT group.com. They can also go to LinkedIn and look me up at Daryl L. Rivers. That's DARRYL. And if they spell it any other way, that spelling's inferior. That's the right way to spell Daryl, right? DARRYL, middle initial L dot Rivers. I'm on Instagram under that name. I'm on LinkedIn under that name. And I'm on TikTok under Think Like a Champ.
That makes sense.
That's how individuals can find me, find my content. If individuals want to shoot an email or something like that, it's on those platforms. But I'm not all that great when it comes to emails because my wife does all of my email answering. She generally handles all of my calls. She does all of the business aspect of it. You can email us at info at thebettermentgroup.com for any questions.
Amazing. It's been great having you on, Dr. Rivers, and hopefully we can have you on in the future as well.
Absolutely. I look forward to it. It was nice meeting you, speaking with you, and sharing some time with you, Mike.
I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. I want you to go away and execute everything there is that you've learned. Now, one thing I will say is if you're in a position where you're ready to actually take things to another level, you want structured, clear guidance, you want a team that can actually help accelerate you, book in a chat with our advisors. Why? We can blow up your personal brand to attract clients begging to work with you. All you got to do is book in a chat with our advisors and we can help make it happen. Sound fair enough?